So the other day I was having a bit of clear out in my garage and I found these. The golf balls that I used when I first started playing golf, nearly 30 years ago. I know, I don't look that old. But honestly, I'd forgotten that half of them even existed. You know, back then I didn't know what compression was. I'd never heard of a urethane cover. I didn't know the difference between a 2-piece or a 3-piece golf ball. I just played whatever I could afford or whatever I found in the bushes. One of these. So this, for example, is a Top Flight XL 2000. It's the first golf ball that I ever broke 100 with. I must have been about 12 years old. And I thought it was the greatest golf ball in the world. So today I thought we'd take a trip down memory lane. We'll cut a few of these open with Jeff. I've got a Balata golf ball here and we'll see what's actually inside. And I've even got a really random golf ball that you might remember. So let's get into it. So the first ball that I played when I first started playing golf was probably one of these. It was a Top Flight XL. And these were, at the time, really classic golf balls. I think now looking back from what I've researched, the compression on this golf ball is around 85 to 100 compression. So it was a firm distance ball. I think it's a 2-piece ball as well. What I like on the outside here is it's more carry, pure distance. Pure distance, that is a pure distance ball. But me and my mates always thought the XL meant that it would help us hit it extra long. And I think this one actually did go extra long distance for me. The club I was playing with was my Callaway Warbird and definitely hit it a long way with this golf ball. But let's see what's inside this one. I'm not expecting much, but let's see what we find. So here we go. Yep, so as you can see, a really standard 2-piece golf ball. Actually, that compression actually doesn't look too bad on the inside. But as you can see, quite a basic golf ball. But what did I know at the time? This was really cheap, and most of the time I found them in the bushes. But I remember upgrading from the Top Flight XL, and some of you might remember there was an upgrade, and it was called the Top Flight XL 2000. At the time of the millennium, there was a 2000 on everything, and it made it sound even better. Now, I don't think this was the golf ball I actually played, because on the side it says women. I don't think my mates would let me get away with playing this ball, but it probably suited my quite slow swing speed at that time. But this was always a ball we thought was a real upgrade from the Top Flight XL. Now this ball apparently has got a compression of between 90 to 120 depending on how it's measured. So super firm golf ball, and I'm really desperate to see exactly what's inside, because this is the golf ball brand. This is the type of golf ball that I first broke 100 with. So I've got some fond memories of this type of golf ball. Here we go. Okay, so that's really cool. I mean, it certainly is probably aimed at the women's golfer, but they're not going to know what's inside. Now, the inside of that golf ball looks really cool. I know it doesn't make any difference to the golf ball, but that's actually a pretty well-made golf ball. When you look at some of the golf balls that are out now, and let's choose one here that I've got. This is the Nitro golf ball, another distance golf ball, very, very firm. You know, look at the inside of that golf ball. It does look like concrete. So therefore, maybe the Top Flight XL 2000 was made to a pretty high standard. Do you remember playing this golf ball? And did you break 100 with this one as well? I really want to know in the comments below. But there was a golf ball that used to kick around quite a bit, and it's the Hippo golf ball. We'd often find them. Hippo, when I was growing up, used to be a really interesting brand. Yes, it was known for cheap golf clubs and cheap golf balls, and that's probably why we quite liked it. But I'm desperate to find out what this one is looking like on the inside. I found it at the bottom of my golf bucket after going golf ball hunting with my son. So let's see what's going on the inside. Interestingly, I can't find out anything about this golf ball online. So I have 0 facts and 0 specs for you, but I remember it was dirt cheap. Okay, wow. So the outer cover of that is super thick, very durable. And I'm wondering if it looks a little bit like the Callaways that I've cut open, and the outer cover isn't particularly even. So maybe the central core isn't as central as it might need to be. But you know what? You were probably paying like 10p per ball, I'm sure, when you bought it in bulk. And that's probably about as good as you're going to get with that golf ball. But do you remember playing the Hippo? I certainly do, and I'm sure I found and put a lot in the bushes. Next up is a really interesting golf ball that I remember playing. This is the Ultra, and it's the Ultra Distance golf ball. Now this again was a lower cost golf ball, certainly high handicappers and a teenager at the time with very little pocket money. This was the sort of golf ball that I could play quite easily. Now this is around 90 to 110 compression, looking at the specs that I could find out about this golf ball, but I do remember it was very long off the tee and I'd probably lose it really quickly. But look at that, that's really interesting. What we're going to do is we're going to cut this one open and we're going to compare it to what a current Pro V1 looks like on the inside. So let's see. Here we go. Okay, so again, really thick outer layer. Look at that. So that's super durable. And then that inner core feels very, very firm. And I know it's not scientific, but it feels really firm on the inside. But look how thick that outer layer is. And when you look at the current Titleist Pro V1s, the newest version, that's what a premium golf ball looks like nowadays. So that's what you're up against if you're matching the old Ultra from the 90s to the current Pro V1. There you go. So you can see how the technology has evolved over the last 30 odd years. But as my game started to improve on the course and as I started to get lower handicaps, I started to look for better golf balls. And one of the better golf balls that we used to play was this, the Titleist PTS Wound. Now, I wouldn't buy them. No way would I be able to afford to buy these at the time, but we definitely found them. We'd go golf ball hunting, we'd find this one. But I'm a little bit worried about this one because this one has got elastic bands wound around an inner core. So we're going to cut this one open with Jeff, and I do think it's probably going to explode. So let's see. I might need to just prepare myself, but let me know. Give me a like if you've played the PTS Wound back in the day. All right, here we go. Okay. What have we got here? So it's a bit of a mess to start with, but here we go. So you've got all the elastic bands that were wound around that inner core. So that's the core of the PTS Wound golf ball. And then it has super tight wound elastic bands. You can see there how tightly they are wound. But I've obviously cut through them, so they are cut in half now. I'm gonna have to have a bit of a tidy up here. But again, you can see, so that's the evolution again of the golf ball. So now, rather than elastic bands around the outside, they've got that mantle layer underneath the outer layer and around that core on the new Titleist Pro V1, for example. So that's the evolution of the golf balls, and the elastic bands are pinging in the air. So I'm going to move these, but you've got to let me know in the comments. Do you remember playing the wound golf balls? They were a real step on in technology back in the 90s, in the olden days. But there was another golf ball which we thought was like the holy grail of golf balls, and it's this one. It is the Top Flight Z Ballata. Now, this is a Tour 90, so you'd expect it to be around a 90 compression. But at the time, this one had great feel around the greens in comparison to what we were playing. And remember, we were playing the Ultra, but this was a really cool golf ball at the time. So at the time, we thought this golf ball was amazing, but I'm not really sure what's on the inside of it. We used to think it had a liquid core, so let's cut it open and find out exactly what's on the inside. Okay, so nothing's exploded. And that's really interesting. So I always thought this had like a liquid center because of the Ballata, like the Titleist Ballatas, but these ones are actually really, really soft. That is such a soft feeling core on the inside there. So that was probably the evolution from the old Top Flight XL, very hard. And then we've got the Top Flight XL 2000, which is super hard like rock. And then you've got the Ballata, which has got actually quite a soft feel on the inside. So do you remember playing any of these golf balls? There are some classic golf balls. The only one that I couldn't find in my collection, which I really liked, was like a Divide. They used to have a ping golf ball, which was like the Strixon Divide golf balls now. And it was half and half. It was the first half and half ball you could get. So that was one of my favourites. I really enjoyed that. These were classic golf balls, and I hope you did too. But you need to let me know which ones you found in your golf bag. So it's crazy to think that back then, I didn't think about compression, spin, what the ball was made of. All I wanted to know was how far would it hit my drives, and I wanted to get the longest distance possible, and some of those golf balls definitely helped me get there. But what I really want to know is, has this golf ball reminded you of the golf ball that you used to play when you were younger, or the first ball that you broke 100 with? Let me know in the comments below. I'd really like to know. And actually, if a few of you comment the same golf ball, I'll dig it out of the archives and me and Jeff will cut it open. Make sure you subscribe and I'll catch you in the next one.